And welcome back to We Are Unique. Don't forget, if you want to email this show, you can do. It's wau@europentv.com. And now I'm joined by Louise Zandian. Thank you for joining me, Louise, on today's show. It's great to have you on. And we just want to talk about your background, about when you were first diagnosed with autism, because it was late in life, wasn't it, Louise?
Yes, it was very late in life. It really was quite amusing in some ways, because I've been working with people on the autistic spectrum, as you know, for many years. And a friend of mine who's a senior lecturer in autism, I asked him if he thought I was autistic, and he said, yes, I think you are. And then I said to him, well, if I am, you are. And so the pair of us booked to go and see this clinical psychologist. And we went to see this person. And both of us came back with a diagnosis, which was really quite funny in lots of ways, because we were both working in the field, very busily looking at other people's autism and not our own. But it was a relief, I suppose, in lots of ways, because, you know, when you think back and you look at yourself, you think, why did I do that? Or why did, and oh, right, that was my autism, yeah.
So did you have any problems or issues when you were younger?
Oh, yes, massively so. I couldn't cope with little girls because they were very, I thought, bitchy, if they want to word, and you know, they'd pinch you and not be nice to you, whereas little boys would be okay. If they didn't like what you'd do, they'd tell you, and then it would be all sorted and you just get on with it.
So when you were young, you were hanging around with the boys?
I was hanging around with the boys, basically, and not the girls, because I could get on better with the boys. So I didn't really have any girlfriends till I was an adult, because I couldn't figure them out. And I just felt safer, you know, with boys, basically. I knew where I was with them. So no, I've got some very good female friends now in adult life, but I can't say I really had any. I don't think I could actually say I had any friends as a child. And
so when you were younger, did you find school hard to learn, or did you pick things up quite easily?
I think some of the positive traits of autism carried me through. For example, I've got a very strong sense of social fairness. So when I was at junior school in the last year, I wrote to the then education minister, who happened to be Margaret Thatcher, and I asked her for a new school, and I got everybody in my class to sign the letter. And we had a response. We did get a new school, but it wasn't just down to my letter, but it was down to lots of things. But I like to think that helped a little bit. And of course, when I went to senior school, we had the miners' strikes, and I brought 1,200 children out on strike to support the miners. That didn't go very well with the school, but it was my sense of fairness. And I think that has carried me through. Some of the positive traits, like, for example, being very loyal and having a very good standard of morals, things like that, have given me a very good basis for my adult life. And I think some of that has got to have come through from my autism. It really has. And it's made me who I am today. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
So do you find that a lot of women struggle to get a diagnosis?
Oh yes, definitely. I think it's because women tend to mask their autism. I did it for years, and even today, if you didn't know me well, you wouldn't know I've got autism, because I do hide it. And I smile a lot. That comes from my mum saying, when I was a little girl, when I wasn't showing much expression, she used to say, smile. So sometimes I'll smile just because my mum's told me to, you know, you must smile. So it's a lot of talk, learned behaviour that I've picked up that masks my autism. And I don't think boys do that. They don't mask it in the same way as girls do. And I think girls sit back and watch and copy, so they imitate behaviours. And I think it's just easier that way for girls to get missed because they're very much so hidden, you know.
So what sort of strengths would you say you have as a person living with autism? Determination, loyalty, great sense of fairness. I have drive. If I really want to do something, I will do it, you know, and I will study and, you know, find out all the facts. I always think that if you want to make an opinion about everything, about something, you've got to know as much as you can about that subject before you can voice your thoughts on the subject. So I think all those things come from my autism. And what sort of challenges have you faced growing up, even from a child, even into adulthood? Well,
the challenges I faced really was being able to cope with people, to mix with people, to try and make friendships. I think I was quite a loner as a child. In some ways I didn't mind that because it was easier. I liked to spend a lot of time in my bedroom, you know, lying on my bed thinking. I did an awful lot of thinking when I was a child. And I did struggle with other things because what isn't really looked at, even now, is the co-occurrence of other conditions that you may have alongside your autism. And I definitely had a few. And they've never been diagnosed, but I know I've got them because looking at what the criteria are for diagnosis, I can see that I fulfill all the, for example, dyspraxia. I am one of the clumsiest people you'll ever come across. And a friend of mine used to call me Pansy Potter, which is a character out of, I think it was the Beano, who's quite clumsy. And that was me. So yeah, and I'm dyslexic, dyspraxic, dyscalculic. I've got a little twinkling of ADHD in there. But the only diagnosis I've got is Asperger's syndrome. So I don't think that's helpful because I don't think people are looked at holistically. And if you're not looked at holistically, how can people offer you strategies or therapy because they're not reaching the whole person? They're only reaching a tiny part of that person. I don't know whether you'd agree with that, but that's how I see it. Yeah. So yeah, right. I don't really think I've got anything more to say on that. I think, yeah.
Well, we'll be back just after this short break where we're talking more to Louise about a national programme which is rolling out throughout the UK. So join me back just after this short break.